Hi guys, it's Garrett again. I'm just back with a new journey documentation type thing. So I am going to be about to be on my way to get my first set of cards graded or sent in for grading. Just something I've been really fascinated by. I thought it was kind of cool. As I've been getting more and more into Pokemon collecting, I've got 3 pulls here that I've had for a while. I just went through all my bulk, found them. I had one in my binder, I had one in a tin with a whole bunch of other cards, or 2 in a tin with a whole bunch of other cards, and I looked it up. They're, somewhat high value. The highest one is only like $50, which is not a lot, but, if I get them graded and I get a good grade on them, they'll be worth a little bit more, and I just thought that would be something fun to have, some cards that I pulled and, were able to send in, hopefully get a decent grade, and that's just something I thought was kind of interesting and fun. So I want to do that, and I'll show you guys the cards real quick. Okay, so here are the 3 pulls I was talking about. We have Boss's Orders. This is one I found in my binder. This is probably the one that I've been holding on to the most, trying to figure out what I should do with it. Just hold on to it, put it in the binder, or get it graded. And looking at the value of it, I think it's around $35. Boss's Orders Secret Rare. So I was gonna get that in. And then I've got a Single Strike Urshifu VMAX Full Art. This one's worth a little bit more than this one, so I thought it was in pretty good condition. I have it in the sleeve right now, so you can't really see the back, but yeah, I thought this would be a good submission. And then this is the most valuable card that I've got right here. This is my Shining Mew Full Art from the Celebrations set. This one I think is about $50, so, and it's in pretty good, decent condition. As far as I can tell, the centering looks okay. Maybe not as much over here on the left hand side, but that's just me. I don't really know that much about how people grade or how the grading process looks. I know some people are a lot better than I am at being able to tell just by looking at a card what the centering looks like or what condition it is. I looked on this yesterday or the other day, and I saw there was a 1 white spot on the back of the card up here, so it's definitely not getting a 10. I don't expect any of these to get a 10. I really don't even expect any of these to get a 9. I'm hoping for a 9, but we will see what happens. I see maybe 7 or 8, which I'm not mad about, but we'll see what happens. So I will just go ahead and transition to whenever I get the cards back, which will be, as far as my understanding, gonna be a while. So I will just hold on to this video and show you guys when I get the cards back. Hey guys, I just got back in from my GameStop submission for my 3 cards I just talked about, and my thoughts on it after the fact are, man, it was cheap. It was only about $19.99 a card, $5 in shipping, but with my pro membership at GameStop, I got that $5 taken off, so it was only about $60 total for my submissions, which I was really happy about with that. And from what I understand, talking to the clerk, it is actually cheaper to go ahead through GameStop as opposed to submitting it yourself, because you end up paying for like shipping, all this other stuff, and it just doesn't end up working in the long run for the most part. But what ends up happening now is I get to wait. They said it would probably take anywhere from up to 65 days. So we'll just kind of see what happens with that after the fact. Hopefully I don't have to wait 2 to 3 months, but we'll end up finding out. So we'll see what happens with that. And then, of course, my one thought on my cards that I had was that my Boss's Orders card I was looking at as I was getting it ready to do the submission, and looking at it when I had it out on the GameStop counter, I was like, oh my god, the centering is just horrible. I'm sure people in the comments or people watching are just like, man, centering on that Boss's Orders is rough. I mean, it's really bad on the right hand side. I looked at that and I was like, man, I kind of regret doing this. I should have done my Team Rocket's Meowth instead of that card, or even my Tyranitar Delta Species. I didn't really think too much about it, but I've had Boss's Orders for so long and I wanted to get it slabbed, so we'll just kind of see how that
plays out, but I will transition to whenever I get the cards, whenever I pick the cards up, and we'll do a brief video on that. Well, God damn it. We will transition to when I get the cards, and yeah, I'll see you guys then. What's up, guys? Hey, so we are now at the point where it's been, I think, 2.5 months, something like that. I sent in my cards in November, and it is now January 15th. So we're gonna check out the GameStop right here, and yeah, we're gonna get our cards, and then we're going to open them whenever we get home. Hey guys, so I just got back in from the GameStop, and I was gonna wait and look at the stuff later when I got home or when I got into the car, but they just kind of spoiled it for me. I don't know, I guess they just weren't thinking about it or whatever, like that I might want it to be a surprise, you know, for myself. Not a big deal or anything like that. I just thought it was funny that they were like, oh, did you get any good grades? And then the cashier holding the cards was like, oh yeah, we got a 9, a 10, and a 10. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. That kind of, you know, that obviously for me is bad. That steals away my initial reaction. But I just thought in the moment, I was thought, oh my God, of course, this is hilarious. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to go through the cards just real quick. I'm going to show them their grades, and then later I'm going to show their values or whatever, because I think people might find that interesting. Anyway, first up was the 9. It was my shiny Mew that I had right there, a 9. I'm gonna look it up and see if they, you know, with the QR code they have in the back, see if there's anything that, you know, might show details on why I got the 9 instead of a 10. And then the Urshifu VMAX, bam, right there, got a 10. I like that card a lot. That's a really good looking card of their Gigantamax form. But yeah, I really like that. 10. Nice to get a 10. Just nice in general. And then I have my last card. Card I did not expect to get a 10 was my Boss's Orders that got a 10. That is a really good looking card. That I think so. I think that, in my opinion, it's a really good looking card. So I'm really happy with that. Anyway, I'm gonna go pick up some lunch, and yeah, then later when we get home, we will look more into those. So thank you guys, and I'll see you then. Okay, so I made it back home, and these are the cards again. Hopefully you guys can see them in a better picture quality with this. As you can see, that one is a 9. I did the research this with my PSA app. This tells me this is a $5 card, I think, $55. This one, Gem 10 Boss's Orders, I think is 57 or 59. So still in the 50s, but obviously these two, I believe, are now worth more than they were, obviously, when they were ungraded, and they're in really good quality, so that's why they got the high scores. This one at Gem Mint 10 is actually also a $97 card, so this is the most valuable one right here, and I just like that. I think that's really cool, so yeah. Oh yeah, that is the journey. I just went on my first PSA submission. What do I think? I think it was fine. It was kind of hard, especially going through GameStop. I don't know if anybody else has this problem. It's supposed to be easier. Just go on your GameStop account and then track your progress through that. That didn't work for me. Every time I tried to pull up that page, it just didn't show anything. It kept saying error. I didn't try to contact tech support or anything like that because I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I just kind of accepted that, well, now my cards are just, you know, out into the ether and potentially never coming back to me. I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know how long it's going to take. I was worried that it was going to take like 6 months and then, you know, it would just be a drastically different process. But luckily it was only like 2.5 months. But I did it at the start of November, and it didn't come until the start of January. So 2.5 months. Yeah, I think that's about right. All in all, I would say that it was a success. I enjoyed my time, and I'm just happy that I now have PSA slabs to add to my collection, and that's really nice and fun. So that's the moral of the story, I guess. Bye.